open up Visual Studio. Let us talk about decorators. Okay. First of all, guys, we need to understand the concept or a style or a paradigm, whatever you name it, right? Which is very trending these days amongst even other programming languages. It is a style called as functional programming style. Okay. Now, this functional programming style is a style wherein essentially, see, it is a pattern or a style. That's it. If you want, you can use it. If you don't want, you may ignore it. It's up to you. Okay. So here in this particular question, exercise 4.8, I have specifically mentioned that you use a decorator function. So you are supposed to make use of this particular style. So that was the intention. Even without decorators, you can achieve the same result, right? So let us understand decorators. So before understanding decorators, what I would like to tell you is like, please remember in functional programming style, functions are treated as first-class citizens. So when I say functions are treated as first-class citizens, that means you can either, what you can do is you can either return a function from a function. It is possible. Number one. Number two, so let me just write as command. In a functional style, the things that you can do is you can return a function from a function. Number one. Number two, you can pass a function as a parameter to a function. Number three, it is something like you can assign a function to a variable. These three aspects are very, very important, right? With respect to functions as first-class citizens. Okay, so you can return a function from a function, you can pass a function as a parameter to a function, and you can assign a function to a variable, right? And for a decorator function that we'll be seeing now, right, we make use of all these three patterns or aspects of the functional style. So before we see the decorator function itself, let us see some of these particular patterns to understand the aspect or the style better. Okay. Okay. Now within main, if I call a function a, right, and then let me define a function a later. This is hello. Right now, if functions are treated as first-class citizens, and since in Python everything is an object, so in Python everything is object, all right, including functions. All your data types are objects, your functions are objects, right? Although you don't have classes and objects as a part of your curriculum or syllabus, in fact, classes and objects and in fact modules are also objects. Everything is objects, right? Irrespective of the keywords, right? Like break, continue, all those things. Apart from those reserved keywords, everything else in Python is object. And because of this, this particular language, Python programming language, supports the functional style as well, right? If you take Java, for example, Java earlier, although being object-oriented programming language, it did not support functional style. I think starting Java version 9, Java also supports functional style. All right. So see, guys, you can do this, right? Now you're not calling a function here. You can do this, right? What is the meaning here? I think we saw this in the theory class as well. This is a repetition, right? So this essentially means that the function definition is directly in line in this particular assignment statement, line number 6. Okay, although if you run this program, there is no output, right? This is a valid syntax. So this is with respect to point number 5 here. You can assign a function to a variable. All right, and if you want to execute that particular function through that particular variable, right, you call the variable as if it were a function, right? It still gives hello. So far, so good, guys. Any clarifications here before we proceed?
Sir, instead of assigning x, instead of this line 7, if you print x, will the output be none, sir?
Yeah, if you print x
Without line 7.
without the call, you are saying without this?
Ah, yes, sir.
It is
Because,
just an object definition, right? This you are saying?
yes, sir. Will it be none?
See, since everything is an object, it gives the object something like an object identifier.
Okay, sir.
Okay, you are printing the object itself. So it is essentially the object, which is essentially the function. Even functions are objects in Python.
Okay, sir. Yes.
All right.
So can we do type X and see what happens?
Yeah, sure. It should give a built-in function, right? It's a function.
Yes, sir. Okay.
All right. So you can assign function to a variable, right? You can also return function from a function. That is also possible. Let us try to do that. Say, for example, in the same program, inside A, say, let me define another function. Okay. So you can define a function within a function also, right? Say I define B, right? And put this print inside B. All right. And then, okay, maybe after, okay, for simplicity, I just have one statement here inside B, and I can do a return here, right? And I'm returning B. Okay, so this is correct. You can return a function from a function. So essentially here in this particular case, what is happening is, right, this B is wrapped inside A, right? So this is the idea of a wrapper function. So this is in line with the decorator that we will be saying, right? So remember guys, the definition of a decorator. A decorator is a special kind of function that actually returns a wrapper function. It is something like this, right? So you have a wrapped function inside, right? And this wrapper is returned when you call A. So far, so good.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you don't have any specific output here, but this is okay. You are returning the function.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, actually it should print hello, no, sir, because under the function A, there's a function B, and we are returning B. Printing hello, we are returning to B, or returning to A.
Okay, but when does B get executed? B is not called, right?
Okay, okay, sir, okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
How do we call it, sir?
Yeah, it's a good question. So let us come to that part before we continue, right? If you want to invoke B, right, that is also possible. Let us try to do that, right? What can you do is you can, yeah, there are two ways. See, either you can do this way. will this solve the purpose? You are calling A. Okay, so let us trace the program. So when you call A, what happens? This is essentially executed. So the flow or the control comes here, right? The execution starts, but even the first line itself inside A is a definition statement, right? So this is not executed, right? So this call is executed. So once this particular call starts executing, it comes inside the function, sees that there is a definition. So this is not getting executed, or this is not going to be executed, right? So it remains as is. All right. So there is no execution here. And when you call X, what will happen? This will get executed. Do you think so?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, makes sense, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you can also do it this
One
way.
more time, can you tell me, sir?
Pardon?
You repeat it one more time, sir.
Okay, so you have a function definition here. Within the function, you have another function defined here, right? And the outer function returns the inner function, right? Now, the idea here is if you want this inner function also to be called, right? A single call is not going to execute the inner function. You need to call it 2 times. So either you can call it through this particular variable X that has been assigned to A, right? Or this is also okay.
Sir, if there are 2 functions inside A, how will we know which one is getting called, or how can we determine?
If there are 2 functions, see, from top to bottom, this is the first function.
So if there's another function C inside A, then how to
Okay.
call the function B or C?
Like the first call will be B and the second call will be C.
Sir, so both will get called.
Yeah, both will get called.
Oh,
All
Sir,
right.
but if you put B parenthesis, then only C will be called, not like that, sir.
C parenthesis, and if C is inside A means that is not going to be called, right?
Sir, if you want to specifically call the third function, I mean second function inside A, there is no chance I will do that. You should pass through the first one, then only you can call the second one, sir.
Absolutely, because you have a parent. You can't call it directly.
The second method I understood. The first method was X equal to A, and then that calling X, that part can you just repeat, sir? I didn't still get it, sir. How does
It is
after
it is the same, no? So, and then you call. So this time B is getting executed.
okay, fine. Okay, sir, okay.
All right.
Okay, sir, okay.
Okay, so we have one nesting here. So if you want to try, you can try with multiple levels of nesting also, right? This is the concept. So coming to the part of the decorator. So what is the definition of a decorator function, guys? I think I said the definition, right? In the theory class, did I say the definition of the decorator function? So
Yes,
with the
sir,
definition. Okay, can you just recall and probably tell me what the definition was?
Oh, no, sir, I don't remember. No, I don't think anybody remembers.
a wrapper
Okay.
that contains a function which can call another one or something like that.
No, decorator function is a function that returns a wrapper function. So here we have a function that returns a wrapper function. Okay, but apart from that, or added to this particular definition, what there is another part to this particular definition. That is, you pass a function as a parameter to the defined function. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is, now this takes us to the third point, right? That is, you can pass a function as a parameter to a function. All right, so let us do something like this. Just give me a second, guys. So when you pass a parameter, let me say define another function, say C. Okay, let me have some statement here. What you can do is you can now probably pass C, which is a parameter, or as a parameter to some other function, right? So here, say A. So let us pass C to A. This is the idea, right? So this is coming to this particular point, passing a function as a parameter to a function. What I'm trying to do here is, right, I am having a function C with a particular definition. Now this C function itself is being passed as a parameter to this particular function A. All right, and let me have the same call again, right? Okay, now in this particular case, again, I expect just a hello, but again, I don't get a hello because it expects a parameter, right? A expects a parameter and you are not passing anything.
Yes.
Yeah. So what can you do?
X is equal to C and you put X inside it.
Yeah, you can say X equal to
C.
C. No, I don't want to call C now. Now that okay, now that I know that C is a defined function, right? Now I want to call A.
X equals A of C.
X equal to
A of C. A and parentheses C.
A and parenthesis C. Okay, now this could be okay. Just to avoid confusion, rather than putting it as C, let us put it as say X, some object which is a function. All right, and then we can call X, right? So this should give us hello, right? So far, so good.
Yes.
Okay. Now, if you want the definition of this particular function to be executed from within A, what can you do? So that is the purpose. Now we are not doing anything with C, or C is not getting executed at all, right?
C parenthesis
Where?
argument.
Line number? Tell me the line number.
Line number 6.
Line number 6.
After C parenthesis, if we give.
This way?
Yes, sir.
Hello world. Okay, you're calling C. Fine?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now, can I do this? Say inside B, I print hello, I come out, and then say outside this definition B, can I call C? or here in this case x, right? And remove this altogether. This will also do the same thing, right?
But we have to pass C, sir. The
Where
6.
you need not pass C.
Oh,
Where you need to pass C, you are saying?
line number 6.
Oh yeah, C is not passed anywhere, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so where can you pass? In line number 6?
After the A.
After A in line number 6, here you are saying C, just like this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Without the parenthesis?
Yes, sir, without the parenthesis.
Okay. All right, so far so good. Have you understood? Functions being first class citizens, you can assign it to a variable, you can pass the function as a parameter to a function, and you can also return a function from a function. So far so good, guys. Now this becomes a decorator. Now in fact this is a decorator, but in fact there is a shortened notation to this, right? Rather than having this way, right, what you can do is, so this C, you can decorate it with, or you can annotate it with this operator at the rate, right? And specify the function to which you pass this C as the parameter. So which is the function in which C will be passed as the parameter? Guys?
Yes, sir.
A. So you say at the rate A here. All right. So this makes this as a decorator function. So a decorator function is something, right, that returns a wrapper function, right? And as you can see here, this returns a wrapper function, right? And this function C is passed as a parameter to the function that you call, which is A. All right. And rather than doing this way, right, you can now call this C directly. Just a shortcut kind of.
So how did world get printed first? In the
Pardon?
previous, how did world? We need to print hello world. How did world get printed first? Can you just run through the like where does the compiler go first? Can you just tell us how which line it evaluates like that?
Okay. So you want to know how the, or why the world gets printed first?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so as you can see here, you have C as the parameter, and C as the parameter goes to A, right? And inside A, what is happening? Inside A, B is defined, it is not yet called, right? X is called, right? So when X is called, what is happening?
World. Oh, okay. World is
World is
printed.
printed, and then you return B. So when you say return B, B is called. That time hello is printed.
Okay. Right, sir. Understood.
Yeah. So this is a decorator function, guys. This is
So
how
here,
decorator function. Yeah.
here, which is decorator function? A or C?
Decorator function is A.
Oh, but it should return a wrapper function right here.
Yeah,
But
it returns a wrapper function. It returns B. B is the wrapped function inside A. It's the wrapper function. B is the wrapper.
but A is wrapper. No, A is wrapping B.
Yeah, A is wrapping B,
So A
and
is
A returns B. So the inner function. So if A is a wrapper function and if A returns the inner function, right, that's a decorator.
Okay, so decorator function is a function that returns a wrapped function or that returns a
Yeah,
wrapper
you can
function?
say, yeah, you can say wrapped function rather.
Okay, okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, got it.
So using this idea, you please try to solve the last problem, 4.8.
Sir,
Exercise number 4.8, you make use of this particular idea of a decorator function to solve it.
sir,
Yeah.
sir. Like I'm not getting why the world is printed as he asked. I not get it, so that's why the world is printed first.
Why the world is printed first? Because line number 13 is called before line number, I don't know, line number 11 and 12. Or rather, line number 14 to be more specific.
Okay, line number
13.
13 is called. Okay, okay, sir.
Line number 13 is called. So this gets executed first before line number 14 is executed.
Okay, sir.
Correct. And line number 13, when this particular function x is called, c is called, and world is printed. And then when you return b, b is called.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
So b is called, and then hello is printed.
Okay, sir. Got it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So, but how do they use this concept to find the time the program takes to find the sum of numbers?
That is the exercise given. You just think and use your own way or style.
Okay.
Yeah. Hope this idea is clear. This is essentially a funny or sometimes a kind of weird topic. But as you start writing in this particular style and write more and more programs, this style will be much more flexible than the normal style, depending upon the kind of problems or tasks that you solve using Python or some other language. All right, guys.
What is the advantage of this? Like this just seems very complicated and confusing to
There
a
is,
normal style.
it looks like that. There is no specific advantage per se. It like adds to the readability or conciseness.
So readability then only if somebody gets used to reading these
Yeah,
functions.
yeah. See, only when, as you correctly said, only when somebody becomes more familiar and writes this particular kind of style again and again, it is much more comfortable. But otherwise, it is not. Yes.
Okay, okay, so it's just a is it just a trend or it's
Yeah.
just what people are following like
No,
Zen?
it
They're
is a
following
kind of, you can think of this as a kind of very hot trend happening these days with respect to all programming languages because of these aspects. Functions being first class citizens, wherein you can do all sort of things like saying like x is equal to a, passing a function as a parameter, returning a function from a function. All those things are supported, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. So experienced programmers, they feel like this kind of style is much more convenient than going through the normal process.
Okay, sir. Sir, C++ also we can do it. We can make it functional style. We have to use objects, but we can call
Uh,
functions through objects. So we can use
right.
that as an argument and do it. So I don't see. I think
Maybe, but
any language.
I'm
Okay.
not sure C++ supports the style, although it is object oriented. I do not know. Maybe the latest version supports, but I'm not aware of that.
Okay. Okay. Fine, sir. Okay.
Yeah, I know Java supports, JavaScript supports, Python, as we are seeing, it supports.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Fine. So
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
just look into it.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So I'll stop screen sharing.